Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is KOROLOV. I am the editor here at MetaStellar. And I'm going to tell you that the top-selling free science fiction and fantasy book today on Amazon is a horror novel perfect for this spooky season. But before we get to that, we have 4 other books to talk about. You see, every single Friday, the team here at MetaStellar reads the first few chapters of every book on Amazon's top sci-fi and fantasy list. I was helped out today by assistant fiction editor Terrence Smith, marketing assistant Lilibet Dominguez-Torres, video editor Alex KOROLOV, and MetaStellar community member Alex MUELLER. And Alex is here with us today. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
So the link to the article, the full article with the reviews is in the description box below, as are the links to all the books we're going to be talking about today. For those who are new, MetaStellar is an online magazine of science fiction and fantasy and horror. All the stories are always free to our readers. And we have our Year 1 anthology out and our Year 2 anthology out, and we're working on Year 3. Woohoo! Oh, and we're in the middle of our fall submission cycle. So if you have a short story that's under 1,200 words, send it in. All right, so let's get started. The first book is... let me pull that up for you. Arrival by Richard Fox, the first of 3 books in the trilogy Space Opera series. The other books are $5 to $6 each, and this series is in Kindle Unlimited. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see that cover. All right, and Alex read this for us. So, Alex, what did you think?
Well, I certainly enjoyed the sample I got to read, and it's certainly a departure from my normal brand of science fiction. Like it comes across like a mix between Star Trek and everything good that comes with Star Trek, and the megacorp-run dystopia that is Blade Runner. So that's an interesting combination. We've got, like I said, Star Trek elements include thoughtfully created and unique alien civilizations, which gives readers glimpses into new worlds and new peoples. And then we have the dark grittiness of Blade Runner that comes through when we learn the charming piece of information that every alien race we get to see is potentially on a chopping block, poised to be exterminated once the corporate powers that rule humanity decide the existence of aliens is an inconvenience. We've got alien genocides, we've got slimy corporate officials, and there might even be a death cult in the mix, so that's all lovely. The story itself even follows a team of human spies sent to infiltrate an alien civilization marked for destruction, and that means our heroes, I hope you can see my air quotes, whole job is to learn how to wipe out a whole planet's worth of people who are just minding their own business in the most efficient way possible. Lovely. We also get to have a look into the daily lives of these spies, and we get to see them mingle with the people they fully intend on seeing slaughter. So that's chilling. The story also has a slow burn feel to it, and while not very much happens at the beginning in the sample I got to read, it's also very clear it's building up to something big. On who this story is for, I would say people who enjoy grim, dark stories are the intended audience, due to the total lack of any good guys in the story. We've got no paragons of moral virtue, only people willing to put up and do horrible things, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. Like, it's certainly an interesting scenario, or at least to me, and I look forward to seeing where it goes next.
All right, thanks, Alex. Let's go on to book number 4, Imperfect Magic by C. and Rowan. The first of 6 books in the imPerfect KOROLOV urban fantasy series. The other books are $1 to $5 each, and the series is in Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited, since I forgot to mention this at the beginning, is where you pay $12 a month and you read all the books you want, kind of like a Netflix for books. It is from Amazon, but you don't need to own a Kindle device. You can get it on any phone or tablet or PC. And it's a good deal if you read more than 3 or 4 books a month. So I'm a member. This is not sponsored. I'm just, it's a good deal if you want to read books. I'm not a fan of the Amazon monopoly, but I do read a lot. It would be great if another bookseller came out with something similar or if the government forced Amazon to break up its exclusivity. Right now, if a book is in Kindle Unlimited, it can't be sold with any other ebook retailer, which is just evil. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it, but it kind of is what it is until we legislate. But anyway, moving on. Imperfect Magic by C.N. Rowan. It's an urban fantasy book. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see the cover. There it goes. And basically, this is kind of like a Dresden Files kind of book, mixed with kind of a Highlander feel. The main protagonist, Paul, has been alive for 800 years. He used to be a priest. He had some kind of nascent magical powers, and the priesthood had some thoughts about reincarnation. Bad things happened 800 years ago. He wound up immortal, but immortal in a weird way. Whenever he dies, he wakes up again in the closest dead body. And if he ever lives a perfect lifetime, he will not be reincarnated anymore. He will disappear off this mortal coil to go where kind of nobody knows where. So that's what's that's the premise of it. It is very fun. It is very profane, and it is very humorous, very violent. I love it. I love everything about it. So it starts out with Paul being tortured to death for information by an evil wizard. The wizard has huge amounts of power. He's able to capture Paul, but also the wizard's a total idiot and none of his spells work. So everybody's super confused, including Paul himself. And he kills Paul, or Paul winds up dying during the torture, and Paul wakes up in the nearby mortuary, terrifying the person who works there, of course. Uses his magic powers to do a little mind whammy, pulls a phone out of the pocket dimension he always has on him, and calls a friend for a ride. The friend, his name is Aisha, and she's also got some magic powers, and she's also been alive for hundreds of years. And they go after this evil wizard, and they catch the evil wizard, and the evil wizard dissolves into goo before he can tell them anything. So that's super creepy. And they go back to the house where the evil wizard lived, and they find some runes that are way beyond the wizard's ability, and they call in some reinforcements. So that's the beginning of the story, and it is awesome. Very funny. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of the Dresden Files, and it's set in Toulouse in France, which is an unusual setting for urban fantasy. I don't think I've ever read a book set in Toulouse before. It's a British spelling, so just be prepared for that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and after I filed this Free Friday story, I went back and continued reading the book, and do plan to stick with it. All right, next we have Wolf Trap by Aimee Easterling. The first of 3 books in the Time Bites paranormal romance series. The other books are $4 and $5 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And Lilibet Dominguez Torres read this for us. And basically, this is kind of a 51st dates kind of thing. Every time the protagonist wakes up, she has no memory of who she is or what's going on. So she wakes up in bed with a scary but sexy guy, and she has no idea how she got there, or what happened the night before, or why she's chained to the bed, but something tells her to get out of there. So as she's about to jump out the window and disappear, she realizes that he's a werewolf, and more than that, he's an alpha werewolf. But she's also attracted to him and curious about his identity and her memory loss. But no time to deal with any of that. She runs away and comes across a familiar person who looks just like her. Turns out it's her sister. And her sister tells True that she loses her memory every morning. And they both run away from the scary alpha wolf. They hide in a cave. They trade clothes. So the sister can distract the alpha wolf while True escapes to go to work because I guess she's got a job. And at this point, True realizes that she herself is also a shapeshifter. She can change into a fox, which explains why she's kind of scared of the werewolf. And Lilibet says that the beginning of the story was a little rushed, but she really liked the idea of the whole fox shifter versus wolf shifter dynamic, and she's interested in how it's going to develop. And she does plan to keep reading it. She recommends it for fans of urban fantasy and paranormal fantasy. And not everything or everyone is what they seem. And there might be some kind of enemies to lovers romance coming up. So if you're a fan of that, check it out. All right, next we have Stormwielder by Hodges, the first of 9 books in the Three Nations Nordic Myth and Legend fantasy series. The other books are $6 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited, and the author has been on our list a couple of times before. So this is a fantasy book about a man on a quest in a dangerous world of gods and demons. And this is for people who like fantasy adventure and epic fantasy stories. Alex says, this is Alex KOROLOV, not Alex Mueller, different Alex. Alex says that he found the beginning a little strange, as the main character appears to have a direct visit from a goddess who just materializes out of nowhere. But it's a fantasy book, these things happen. He says he's going to keep reading. So Alistair is a seasoned old warrior who's on a mission for the goddess Antonia. He's dedicated the past 2 years to searching for his lost family because Antonia told him to find them. And the goddess appears to him in the night to tell him that someone else has found him first, and he can reunite with them soon, but first he must help someone in need. And then we meet Eric, a young man who's been wandering alone for 2 years, exiling himself from human contact because he has dangerous powers that he can't control, powers that kill people, a lot of people. Eric ventures into a town and, of course, loses control, and things go south quickly. But Antonia has sent Alistair to help him, and their journey together begins. Ooh. Curious premise. All right. I want to, before we go on to book number 1, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. This is how we pay for the original fiction we publish, through these donations. So you guys are awesome. You rock. We're all volunteers. We donate our time, but we do want to pay our authors, and that's how we do it. So thank you, Patreon community. You guys are awesome. Okay, now let's go on to book number 1. Terrence Smith read this for us, and it's called Lacuna's Point, and it's a standalone horror novel. So good timing. It's the author's first time on our list, but he does have quite a few other horror books and stories up on Amazon, some of which are in Kindle Unlimited. Terrence says this book is scary, good fun. It reminds him of Jordan Peele's Get Out. So we've got 2 protagonists, Ellie, a divorced woman, and Mitch, a struggling writer, who's in a strained marriage with his wife and estranged from his 2 living daughters. He had another daughter who's now dead or missing, and she was about to enroll at Howard University when she disappeared 2 years ago. Ellie's daughter disappeared along with Mitch's daughter. They went missing in a small town of Lacuna's Point. On the anniversary of their disappearances, Ellie and Mitch receive text messages that call them back to the town where they disappeared, where they may learn what happened to their daughters. And Terrence says this reminded him of the video game Resident Evil 4. And the setting of this town, Lacuna's Point, seems to be run by a cult, which reminds him of the cult that pulls the strings in the video game story. And the residents have really wide jaws when they let out their ghastly moans, which happens in the prologue, which kind of indicates that they're alien and insect-like, or parasites. So they're more than just a subtle metaphor. They're a town of white residents playing on black visitors. So definitely echoing the movie Get Out. And when the 2 vanished daughters first arrive in the town to visit an art show, they get hit by some nasty microaggressions. So Terrence says that the mystery has him intrigued, and he likes it, and he would not mind sticking with it. Okay, so those were our books. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you don't want to miss any of these free Fridays, sign up, subscribe, hit like. We also have a newsletter that goes out every Friday afternoon with these books, as well as all the new fiction and articles we published that week. And the link to that newsletter is in the description box below. And finally, before I go, I want to tell everybody that today and for the rest of the month, we have our fall submission cycle going on, where we pay 8 cents a word for original fiction. We've already had close to 200 submissions since October 1st. So, send us your story in. All right, thank you very, very much for joining us. And thank you, Alex, for keeping me company today and for helping out with the books.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.